Literally no offense to anything. They're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White. It makes no sense to me. You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that backward story of 7 dwarves living in a cave. What the are you doing, man?
At the center of this storm stands Rachel Zegler, once hailed as Hollywood's next big star, now reportedly pointing fingers at Game of Thrones actor Peter Dinklage for triggering the catastrophe that threatens to derail her career.
This would have been a lot better if they, had a strong male along with her, a prince, if it wasn't about socialism, if they didn't remove the dwarves, if they had real dwarves.
When Disney announced plans to modernize Snow White, they promised a fresh take on the 1937 classic that would address what they considered outdated elements.
They're remaking the movie, they just got rid of the dwarves, okay?
Okay, but what do they call them?
Why would they get rid of the dwarves, though?
Magical creatures.
But they have one token dwarf amongst these magical creatures.
Rachel Zegler's casting brought initial praise for diversifying the iconic role, though skeptics questioned how far Disney would stray from the original story.
You actually just went backwards. You actually just erased the dwarfism side of it. The disability, like we're a disability group, you just erased that whole image.
This delicate balancing act was already proving challenging when Peter Dinklage unexpectedly entered the conversation. During a podcast interview that quickly went viral, Dinklage expressed frustration about the project. They're proudly casting a Latina actress as Snow White, but you're still telling the story of Snow White and the 7 dwarfs. Take a step back and look at what you're doing there. It makes no sense.
Literally no offense to anything. They're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White. It makes no sense to me. You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that backward story of 7 dwarves living in a cave. What the are you doing, man?
The actor didn't hold back, calling the depiction of dwarfs living in a cave backwards and questioning Disney's understanding of progressive storytelling. His comments ignited an immediate firestorm. Overnight, Disney found themselves trapped between honoring a beloved classic and avoiding stereotypical portrayals.
Argument should have been from Peter Dinklage. There's power of being on TV, there's power of television, and to put 7 people with dwarfism on camera in a major Disney movie, there's still power there.
The studio scrambled to release statements promising sensitivity, but insiders reveal the damage was already done. According to production sources, panic set in as executives demanded extensive rewrites to address Dinklage's concerns.
If the story is offensive, change the story, don't change the characters.
The controversy deepened when other actors with dwarfism entered the debate. Dylan Postl publicly criticized Dinklage, claiming he was being selfish and arguing that the community needs more work. Another actor pointed out the irony. Right now, there's more dwarves on this podcast than there are in the new Snow White movie, and that's probably due to Peter Dinklage.
Because right now, there's more dwarves on this podcast than there are in the new Snow White movie. And that's probably due to Peter Dinklage.
Yep.
What started as criticism about representation had fractured into competing perspectives even within the community it aimed to protect. Meanwhile, the production descended into chaos. Test screening reports leaked online, describing confused audiences witnessing abrupt tonal shifts and a narrative that couldn't decide what story it wanted to tell.
Peter Dinklage destroyed Disney, and it could end up costing the company over $100 million.
Anonymous sources described a set plagued by tension as Zegler attempted to navigate a role that kept changing beneath her feet. The screenplay reportedly underwent multiple emergency rewrites, with creative teams split between traditional storytelling and heavy-handed modernization.
Disney has cast Rachel Zegler to play Snow White, which caused a lot of controversy because Zegler is Hispanic and the character is traditionally German.
As negative publicity mounted, Zegler maintained public silence while promotional appearances became increasingly awkward. She tried deflecting questions about the controversy, but her discomfort was evident. That's when the rumors began. Inside sources claimed Zegler was privately fuming, allegedly telling close associates that Dinklage's comments had triggered the cascade of problems engulfing the film. According to these unverified reports, Zegler believed that without Dinklage's initial criticism, the production would have progressed smoothly.
That controversy is being compared to Halle Bailey's Little Mermaid, which did lose $50 million, making only $555 million in a budget of $250 million.
She supposedly felt his comments had placed an unfair spotlight on her performance before audiences had even seen it, making her the face of a controversy she didn't create. While no direct quotes from Zegler have surfaced confirming these allegations, The rumors spread rapidly across industry circles and social media. The rumored friction between Zegler and Dinklage captivated the public's imagination, transforming a troubled production into something more personal.
Peter Dinklage comes into this as when Rachel Zegler was cast, he laughed at Disney saying it's fake progressivism. The reason being that Peter Dinklage, who does have achondroplasia, finds the depiction of the Seven Dwarfs very offensive.
A clash between two actors representing opposing sides of a complex cultural debate. Dinklage, known for challenging Hollywood norms, remained conspicuously silent as speculation grew, neither confirming nor denying his role in the film's growing problems.
Peter Dinklage said that Disney casting Rachel Zegler is their way to feel good about themselves while ignoring a much bigger problem.
Industry analysts now suggest the Snow White disaster reveals deeper issues in Hollywood's approach to updating classics. One prominent critic noted, "Disney tried satisfying everyone and ended up pleasing no one." They panicked after Dinklage spoke out, making changes that fractured the story's cohesion rather than thoughtfully addressing his concerns from the beginning.
Peter Dinklage was criticized by some actors with similar conditions, like Dylan Postl said Peter Dinklage was being selfish and that community needs more work.
Fan reactions have been equally divided. Some defend Dinklage for raising valid concerns about representation, while others argue his comments derailed what could have been a magical reimagining. Social media has become a battlefield with hashtags supporting either Zegler or Dinklage trending intermittently, further fueling the controversy that overshadows the actual film. Particularly shocking are recent reports that Disney executives are quietly exploring a complete restart, potentially scrapping the current version entirely.
Rachel Zegler is supposed to play Snow White. She's Latina. It says, literally no offense to anyone, but I was a little taken aback that they were very proud to cast a Latina actress as Snow White, but you're still telling the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Industry insiders whisper that Jenna Ortega has emerged as a fan favorite replacement, with speculation that Disney might attempt a completely fresh approach with new writers and direction. Such an unprecedented move would confirm just how disastrous the current production has become.
Take a step back and look at what you're doing there. It makes no sense to me. You're progressive in one way, but then you're still making that backwards story about seven dwarves living in a cave together. What the fuck are you doing, man? Have I done nothing to advance the cause from my soapbox? I guess I'm not loud enough.
Throughout this controversy, Disney has maintained tight-lipped silence regarding internal conflicts. The studio's approach appears to be waiting for the public conversation to burn itself out, hoping new projects will eventually redirect audience attention.
I mean, there's the easy joke of, well, we didn't see you on the soapbox, Peter. It's true. But
however, the alleged blame Zegler places on Dinklage ensures this particular fiasco will hold a special place in Hollywood history. Not just another underwhelming remake, but a case study in creative discord and communication breakdown.
It's this weird thing where he's saying, like, oh, it's bad that we're still doing Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, so he doesn't necessarily want that. But as little people actors, it's like, well, we kind of want to work. We kind of want...
For Zegler, what should have been a career-defining role has become a professional challenge. Industry observers note that, fairly or unfairly, the Snow White disaster will follow her career narrative for years to come.
That part, and if that's what's available, then that's what we'd like to do. But at the same time, I get what he's saying, because, yeah, you're like, well, was it that bad? I go, yeah, because at the time, dwarves really didn't have any representation.
Meanwhile, Dinklage's reputation as an outspoken advocate remains intact among his supporters, though critics question whether his comments ultimately helped or harmed the cause of authentic representation. The story of Snow White has always been about appearances. A fair princess, an evil queen obsessed with beauty, and the danger of judgment based on looks. Ironically, this modern retelling has collapsed under the weight of appearances too. The appearance of progressiveness, the appearance of respect for tradition, and the appearance of thoughtful adaptation, none fully realized. As Hollywood continues reimagining classic stories for modern audiences, the Snow White disaster serves as a cautionary tale. The rumored rift between Zegler and Dinklage symbolizes the broader tension between preserving beloved narratives and evolving cultural sensitivities. Disney's stumble demonstrates that even with the best intentions, modernizing classics requires more than surface-level changes. It demands a coherent vision that honors both the source material and contemporary values. Whether Rachel Zegler truly blames Peter Dinklage for this high-profile failure may never be confirmed. What's certain is that when Snow White eventually reaches audiences, it will arrive carrying the weight of controversy that has transformed its release from anticipated adaptation to infamous cautionary tale. A reminder that in Hollywood's most ambitious projects, even fairy tales can't guarantee happy endings.